All right, YouTube. Look what we got today. 2003 BMW M5, the E39 M5. I had a subscriber that liked some of my other BMW videos and wanted me to do some more and asked about an E39 M5, and I just so happened to have access to one. I sold this one a couple years ago to a friend and customer of mine. But let's take a look at this beauty. So this is carbon black. I think this is one of the first cars to ever get carbon black on it. The E39 M5 it was just, when it came out, this really, they had I can't even remember what the body style or the engine code or chassis code of the earlier M5 was. I hardly even saw any of those, but this was like first M5 that I feel like made like a real splash. I mean, people wanted this car. There was a waiting list, and it was just amazing. And it's actually a pretty simple formula on this bad boy. Let's take a look at the motor real quick. Which is maybe the centerpiece of this guy. All right, there we go. So 5-liter V8, 400 horsepower, 395 foot-pounds of torque. Does that sound familiar? That's that's like a recipe for American muscle right there. Pretty much identical horsepower and torque on this beast, and that's what this car reminds me of. You know, it actually, like the Camaro that we test drove, 460 horse, 460 foot-pounds of torque, which is the recipe for fun too. It's awesome. So beautiful engine. It just works so well. It has such so it is an American recipe for fun. They definitely added their refinement, their German side to this motor. It still has that level of refinement. The torque comes on so instantly. I remember having to be really careful. People would want to drive the car back in, I had one in 2001 that I drove. It was my boss's, and he would let me drive it all the time. That first real M experience actually was a E39 M5. Absolutely loved that car. But anyways, I'd have to be super careful if anybody ever drove it, because you have to make sure on this car the clutch is all the way out, and I mean all the way out, because the torque would come on so instant, you would burn the clutch super easy. But anyways, work of art, just a beautiful, awesome engine. Really nothing crazy about it. No crazy tech. You know, just BMW's version of a 5-liter, you know, high horsepower, high torque V8, and it's awesome. So let's take a look at the rest of this guy. So it had a little bit better stance, definitely, just like all other M's. These mirrors, you know, that's how you could set the M5 apart. This car weighed 4,000 pounds roughly. An interesting thing about this car, the new F33 series is the same size as this E39 M5. So literally, if you want a 400 horsepower, you know, high torque 3 Series for less money, find yourself an E39 M5. You know, these things are an incredible bargain. You can get these cars for 15,000 bucks. I mean, insane awesomeness for this thing. Let's take a look. So yeah, nothing crazy. I mean, it was a little bit, you know, they did a few touches on it, but it's your E39 M5, or sorry, 5 Series body. Different suspension, of course, limited slip rear diff, better brakes, different wheels. You know, your brakes don't look super special, but they worked good. They did a good job. Let's take a look. You got your little cues, your little M5 cues, the mirror, of course, your little lip spoiler, and the classic quad pipes in the rear. M5's had a better looking front and rear bumper. Real trunk. 6-disc changer. Which I remember at the time was like, oh sweet dude, it's got a changer. Which is pretty funny. Let's take a look at the inside here. So I think one of the cool things about this M5 was its simplicity. Only came in a manual transmission. And this is another car where the manual is perfect. You know, it really does depend on the engine and the way they made the car, whether you want like a DCT, an automatic, a manual. Some engines are just are well mated with their transmissions. And this definitely, this transmission is perfect for this thing. You just have to remember about that torque and not get too crazy. If you're looking at a used M5, you know, check out the clutch, because it was kind of I don't want to say weak, but people didn't know how to drive the car and they'd end up smoking the clutch because it had so much torque. So something to keep in mind. This was like kind of revolutionary. On the 2000, it was a smaller screen, but this was a big deal. I mean, having a nav screen from the factory back in that day was a big deal. So pretty sweet setup. No M button in this guy. We got your sport and your DSC, your traction control button. They had a couple different styles of seats in these. I don't know if this one has the sport. I don't think this has the sport seat. There was a sport seat in it. But look at this beautiful wrap dash though. You know, this thing is 14 years old and this dash looks perfect. Look at that quality, the quality on the dash. It's freaking awesome. Alcantara headliner, just the whole car felt so good. I remember, you know, cruising to Vegas in this thing, 181 miles an hour, and just feeling this thing was just like your mobile office. Just awesome. You know, pretty legit back seat. Not bad at all. These cars were awesome. Awesome cars. But yeah, you know, main thing is you know, in this thing you got your 3 pedals, your steering wheel, an awesome manual trans, a real e-brake, no electronic e-brakes here. And it was just simple and awesome to drive. Of course your Bmw sensor that's red. This mirror needs a little love. But yeah, it was awesome. These cars were so amazing at the time. I mean, you got the Camaro that just came out this year with 460 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque, where this car had 400 horsepower in 2000 is amazing. I mean, this thing was this thing was a rocket ship. I remember on the highway, this is the first car I've ever been in that just had like the sense of speed. It didn't really, it would go so fast, and it felt like it had, you know, it felt like you were going 30 and you're doing 100 miles an hour. It was just so impressive to drive. Just awesome to drive. So yeah, really cool car. So classics, you know, can't afford a brand new M5, you know, or M3, dude, find the old one. This is seriously one of the funnest cars to drive. That is a total nice daily, and they've held up pretty good as far as maintenance and reliability too. They're good. I mean, I think there's a few little things you can change. Just, you know, you're gonna have bushings and shock issues with how old they've gotten. So just plan on changing a few of those things, but maybe a couple small oil leaks. But it's not rocket science. You know, it's a pretty easy car if you get a clean one to maintain and have an awesome car that you will absolutely love. Great road trip car, great daily. Not huge, you know. Some of these cars, it's nice they've gotten a little bigger and stayed light, but man, it's nice to have a little bit smaller car that's flickable with a manual trans. And this sedan, you know, how many luxury sedans have a manual trans and 400 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque? It's just awesome. And the balance of this car, you know, I think I said it in my M3 review. I think this is one of the funnest, most driftable cars you can get. You'll have nothing but fun in this thing. But anyways, I think I'm gonna get a quick exhaust clip for you guys, and then we'll go for our driving portion. But all right, guys, thanks. I'll be back in a sec. Let's go for a ride in a 2003 E39 M5. Hopefully we'll get a good canyon run. Oh shit, this car's awesome. No driving aids here. You just got a nice NA 5-liter V8 and a manual trans. And it is awesome. Still redlines at 7,000 RPMs, which is pretty amazing. You got to think about this car when it came out, and to have a 400 horsepower 5-liter V8 that have that kind of a redline. The throttle response on the M5 is to die for. It is just right there when you want it, and just so, you know, it makes a great sound, and just so good, so good. What to talk about this thing? It's just a car. It does feel like American muscle to me, but it's got that German, the German way, American muscle the German way, and I love it. It just rips. And it is pure joy to drive an E39 M5. I'm impressed with the quality of this car, even being 14 years old. Very few rattles, squeaks. The interior is in great shape. Great sound deadening. I can still hear that exhaust outside, but honestly, this car, man, it is sealed up. It is just quality. I feel like we've kind of gotten, the quality's gone down in some ways in the new cars, and this thing, man, it feels solid and well put together car. So just this chassis is great, and it just, man, it feels good. Very easy to drive this thing daily. Really compliant suspension. Feels sporty, but it's very comfortable. A little bit of roll, you know, it's old school. But man, is it good. Longer throw on the transmission. It's kind of how the BMWs were, but I mean, it's great. You kind of have to set it up in the corner. I mean, it is not this like full race car. This is a great daily driver that is super fun to drive. But it's definitely got a little bit of, you know, it's a little bit of roll. It's more on the comfortable sports sedan realm of suspension. And there's only one setting, but it's awesome. It's just very easy to live with every day. So again, power, the throttle response on this thing is just amazing. Just oh my gosh. And it's not, it's really fast actually, but it's not so fast that like you get to drive the car. You get to go through some gears, and this is an enjoyable car. I know for sure, you know, every year there's less and less of these on the road, and they're just going to become more and more desirable. Right now, I feel like they are a bargain. These older M5s, it's, you know, a lot of them are beat up if you can find a clean one, but man, they're good.
These were when this came out, this competed with the old E55 that was NA, which it kicked that thing's ass the first couple years. It did. And then the older Jag, aluminum body Jag, which were awesome, but the M5 just destroyed it. In 2003, the E55 came out with the supercharged motor and the newer body style, and that was an impressive car for sure. But before that, like a 2000, the 2000 E55, oh, this thing was it was a whole nother level of performance. But anyways, so cool. No rev matching, no traction. The traction control button's one button. There's no middle setting. You have a sport button, no M button on this. Like I said, the suspension is the suspension. It's very simple. This car would be great with a set of KW, some Club Sports or some V3s on it. But man, is it great. It's just great to drive. Amazing torque. Good brakes. That's nice. And the back end is pretty lively in an E39 M5, which means you have to know how to drive it, but you can rotate it around these corners very nicely. Oh geez, it's got some good engine braking on it. Yeah. Oh man, let's just cruise for a sec here. Got some good open canyon today. Yeah, this car's good. Man, I swear, these car companies, they need to save these chassis somehow and figure out a way how to produce them brand new again, and do like a classic line of cars that they can produce brand new. And oh my gosh, this thing would sell. This thing, I think this is what, as cars get more digital, I think this is what people are missing, about their older M5. Oh, it's just a very analog experience of driving, and just you in the car, no computer here, and it is awesome. Although it's a 4,000-pound car, it doesn't feel too heavy. The steering feels great. Of course, your classic hydraulic steering that feels awesome. Yeah, I don't know, quality, fun, crazy amounts of torque, manual transmission, V8. It's a recipe for success. And we're all going turbocharged nowadays for fuel economy. But man, there is something to be said, and I love turbos. They make so much power. But man, I don't know, man. Natural aspirated motors with that just amazing throttle response to just let you modulate. Oh god, love it. It's just so fun. It's just so fun to drive. Great sound, just the involvement. The involvement in the the involvement in the car is great. You can feel the front end. I had a little understeer there, and then I had a little oversteer. It's just awesome. The feeling you get in the car, and you can just actually drive it and really enjoy it. It's so awesome. Great steering wheel. You got your triple stitch steering wheel. It's always good. Seats are good. Yeah, just good. What's bad about this car? I don't know. Hard to find a clean one to buy. That's probably one of the bad things. Oh, turkey. But I can't think of too much else. The clutch, like I said, the clutch was kind of a weak point in the car, just because it makes so much torque so instantly that it was hard to not mess it up. Nice long gears. Good long gear with that high rev range. It works great. What else? I don't know. I love it. I love it. And for freaking $15,000, 20 grand for a clean M5, oh, you're gonna, this, if you want a Sunday driver, if you want a car just to have a great experience in, the E39 M5 it is so good, man. So quiet. And when you turn everything, well, I guess there's no turning anything off, but you can change the, take the sport mode off and change the throttle pedal feel a little bit. It's not quite as responsive, but yeah, awesome. What a fun car. German's idea of American muscle, and I love it. It just worked. It was ahead of its time, and the funny thing is it's such a simple recipe. A torquey, well-balanced V8 in a sedan with a manual trans. You know, and most time in a luxury sedan, you're not thinking manual trans, but in this car it works. It worked great. It's a luxury sports sedan. These cars were capable. Like I said, I did 180 miles an hour in this car. It's a great car, and man, yeah, just a pleasure. So hope you guys liked my E39 M5 review. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I appreciate you guys as always. Thanks.